everybody, this is the Wikstrand. So, on paper, Chain Reaction seems like a more than decent little piece of movie business. We have Red, we have John Wick, and we have Evelyn, all in the same movie with a good, established and respected director with a pretty big budget. What can go wrong? Really nothing goes wrong with this movie per se. This is just a bit standard. The weird thing is that this came out just 3 years, I think, after The Fugitive. And it is impossible not to compare those two movies to each other. And in the battle of those two, The Fugitive wins pretty decisively, in my opinion. It's a really, really good movie. But let's find out if Keanu Reeves does anything else in this movie except running. Short answer is not really, but let's find out what this movie is about, shall we? This is Chain Reaction. Another weird coincidence is the fact that 6 or 7 or maybe 8 months after this movie was released, the movie The Saint was released with Val Kilmer, which also dig deep into the subject of renewable energy and cold fusion and stuff like that, because this is what this movie is about. So we have a bunch of scientists led by Morgan Freeman and Keanu Reeves and Rachel Weisz, who are, and they're trying to create this renewable, clean, affordable energy thing with cold fusion and stuff like that, and they are successful. And they're having a rap party, and everybody's really happy about it. But then Keanu Reeves is accused of murder and treason and stuff like that. An entire science lab has exploded. Who can you trust in this scenario? The only person Keanu Reeves really can trust is, of course, Dr. Sinclair, played by Rachel Weisz. And together, they're now on the run together and trying to figure out who has framed them and why, and if they can somehow salvage this thing and still, present the clean energy thing to the population and stuff like that. So this is about as basic as you can get when it comes to a, on the run, trying to clear your name type of a scenario in a movie. We know Keanu Reeves hasn't done the things they're accusing him of. We sort of kind of knows who probably is responsible for it and why. But leading up to the pretty predictable ending, we do have some entertaining chases, especially a thing on a frozen lake that I thought was very fun. We do have some decent action sequences and some moderately good suspense to the whole thing. But most of the movie is basically Keanu Reeves runs a lot. He runs and he runs and he runs. Sometimes he punches somebody and sometimes he shoots a little bit, but otherwise from that it is mostly running and hiding from the authorities and spying on potential villains and stuff like that. And it's totally okay, and I would probably view this movie in a much more positive light if not The Fugitive had come out only a few years before this. And in the grand scheme of things, this is not a movie that most people remember, despite having 3 very good actors doing pretty decent enough roles in it. Because I mean, if you're having a movie with Keanu Reeves and Morgan Freeman and Rachel Weisz, on paper that sounds like a great idea, and they're not phoning it in or anything like that. It's just a little bit uneventful, in my opinion. We do have a couple of decent action sequences, and the explosions of the lab is pretty spectacular, but you could say that this is the purest definition of a quite decent action thriller. This was also during the period where Keanu Reeves was sort of cooling off a little bit after, the initial super success of Speed. But if you are a huge fan of Keanu Reeves, you probably should see this movie. It's a pretty damn okay movie in the end. Some decent suspense, a bit predictable, but on the whole thing, a pretty okay movie if you ask me. This isn't one of Keanu Reeves' more memorable movies, but I'll give this movie anyway 56 points. However, I cannot ignore the fact that there are some pretty damn decent bits to this movie, and Reeves and Weisz has some pretty damn good chemistry together, which they would reprise in about, a decade from now in the movie Constantine, and also a pretty overlooked movie from Keanu Reeves' career. If you like this sort of on-the-run thrillers and trying to clear your name and spying on the bad guys and stuff like that, you could do worse. But the movie is very standard and horrendously unoriginal. So I'll see you next time from So and So Reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.